Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Whispered Truths.
Today's episode is called The Cost of Silence with our hosts,
Serena Jones,
Cambry Singh,
and Brisa Columba,
and our special guests, William Frankenstein,
Justine Moritz,
and Victor Frankenstein. In Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Sweet William's death is portrayed through symbolism, imagery, and illusion in order to reflect the idea that revenge is destructive.
Segment 1. William Frankenstein.
In Frankenstein, many characters get to tell their side of the story, but today we are listening to a voice that never truly had the chance to speak. William Frankenstein was a child, a brother, and an innocent victim. His death is brief in the novel, yet its consequences echo through the entire story. William, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you for listening. That's something no one did when I was alive.
William, your death is often mentioned quickly and then passed over. Why do you think your voice is so absent from the novel?
Because I wasn't meant to be remembered as a person. I was meant to be remembered as a tragedy. Children in stories like this are often symbols of innocence, loss, or guilt, but not actual people with any real thoughts or feelings. My silence made it easier for the adults around me to avoid responsibility.
How does that silence affect the meaning of your death?
It makes my death easier to justify. When someone cannot speak for themselves, others speak for them, and they often change the story. My death becomes about Victor's guilt, the creature's rage, and the family's grief. But no one asked what it meant for me to be afraid, alone, and abandoned.
Let's talk about the night you died. What do you remember?
I remember being lost. I remember calling out to my father, my brother, my family, believing someone would come to rescue me. I had no idea I was caught in a conflict that began long before that night. I was innocent and didn't understand what had come from creation, ambition, or revenge. I only understood fear.
Do you believe your death was preventable?
Yes, completely. I didn't die because of fate or chance. I died because Victor created something he refused to take responsibility for. He knew the creature existed. He knew it was capable of violence, and yet he did nothing. His silence allowed the danger to grow until it reached someone powerless enough to be harmed.
Some readers argue that Victor is also a victim. How would you respond?
Victor chose knowledge over responsibility. He chose ambition over care. I didn't choose anything. That's the difference. Adults are allowed to make mistakes, but when their mistakes cost innocent lives, silence is their only response.
Your death leads directly to Justine Moritz being accused and executed. How does that shape your role in the novel?
It shows how silence spreads. My voice was taken from me, and then my death was used to silence someone else. Justine was an easy target as she was poor, a female, and powerless. The truth was inconvenient, so it was ignored. Society abandoned Justine the moment truth threatens its sense of comfort.
What do you think Shelley is saying through your silenced voice?
She is showing that innocence does not protect you in a world ruled by ego and fear. My death proves that progress without integrity is dangerous. Knowledge without accountability destroys what it claims to improve.
You are often described as a symbol of innocence. Do you feel that limits how readers understand you?
Yes, innocence is not weakness, it is trust. And trust deserves protection. When readers reduce me to a symbol, they miss the warning Shelley has given them, that society often sacrifices the innocent to preserve the reputations of the powerful.
How does your story connect to the modern world?
Even today, children suffer because adults refuse accountability. According to the World Health Organization, 6 in 10 children under 5 years of age worldwide experience violence or neglect each year, often caused or ignored by those responsible for their care. Their voices are dismissed because they are young, dependent, or inconvenient, just like mine was.
Why do you think silenced voices are so easy to ignore?
Because listening requires action. When you hear a silenced voice, you are forced to respond. Silence allows people to believe they are innocent, while others suffer the consequences of their choices.
If you could speak directly to Victor, what would you say?
I would ask him why his fear mattered more than my life, why his reputation mattered more than the truth, and why he believed silence could undo what he created.
And if you could speak to readers today?
I would tell him that silence is never neutral. When we choose not to listen, we choose who gets erased. My voice was lost, but it doesn't have to stay that way.
William Frankenstein, thank you for reminding us that the quietest voices often reveal the most uncomfortable truths. Segment 2, Justine Moritz. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to our podcast, Whispered Truths, where we help people whose voices have been silent. tell their story. Today we have a special guest by the name of Justine Moritz, giving us an account of the time she felt silenced. Welcome, Justine. How are you?
At the moment, just conflicted. I still carry the weight of what happened to me the night I died. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and listening.
Of course. You deserve to tell your story and let people know what really happened to you. Now, Justine, I know something truly tragic happened to you, the death of William, a little boy you cared for. Could you walk us through what happened the night he died?
It was just a normal day. I had been working and tending to the family as usual. I was so exhausted that I decided to take a little nap, but when I awoke, my life had been flipped upside down. William was dead and I was being accused of murdering him, the sweet boy I cared for.
Really? That must have been so confusing. One moment, you're living out your day as normal, and the next, you're being convicted for a crime you didn't commit. What made officials think you were the suspect?
I was the easiest to blame. Officials had found William's locket in my pile of clothing after he'd been murdered. I never took the locket. I never murdered William. I was just framed.
You believe you were framed?
I know I was framed.
By who?
By the awful creature Victor Frankenstein created. When I was just a child, I got taken in by the Frankenstein family. They cared for me and allowed me to become part of their family. However, there was a son in the family named Victor. Victor had always been a scientist, but this time he took his ambition a bit too far. He created a monster that hated humanity and it came back to bite us all. It framed me. The monster framed me.
A monster? If you were framed, then why did you plead guilty? Why would you confess to a crime you didn't commit?
I didn't have a choice. The locket was evidence against me, and being a woman during a time like this, no one would have believed me if I claimed to be innocent. Besides, they cared more about my confession. They just need somebody to blame for the murder.
So, you're saying your conviction was a result of a bad court and injustice due to discrimination. How did this make you feel?
I was terrified. I cherished William, but now he's gone and I'm to blame. I could have never imagined something like this would happen.
Did anyone try to defend you? Claim that you were innocent?
My friend Elizabeth did. She believed in me when no one else did and stood by my side, and even offered to help me get out of jail. She was kind, brave, and a great friend.
That sounds like a true friend. So, did you get out of jail in the end?
No, I was hung after being convicted. I took the place of the monster. He should have been hung, not me.
That's devastating. How do you think your tech connects to the modern world?
According to the United Nations Office, corruption has a direct impact on the validity of human rights. In court, corruption can lead to someone's death or life, allowing an innocent person to suffer or a guilty man to walk free. My case was the former. I was innocent and suffered by dying for a crime I did not commit, while the monster, who was really guilty, was able to walk free.
What do you think your death is supposed to symbolize?
It symbolizes injustice and the consequences of unchecked ambition. My death showed how one person's mistake can affect many, even if it's unintentional.
I'm sorry this happened to you. Your death not only symbolized injustice, but it helped teach people a lesson. I hope after all of this you can find peace.
Thank you. I'm glad to open up about this and share my story with you, especially after I had been silenced.
Do you have any words for Victor Frankenstein? Would you like to say anything to him if you had him in front of you? What would you tell him?
I would have asked him why he created the creature, and I would have told him that it was a selfish act, doing something that could have led to people being harmed. I wish he never made the monster. It could have kept me out of jail, and it could have kept William alive.
Do you think his ambition went unchecked? Do you think anything could have stopped him?
I think he could have had proper guidance, or at least redirected his ambition to create something different, something useful for the world to use.
Would this have prevented your voice from being silenced?
I believe so, yes. It would have stopped me from being wrongly convicted and allowed me to live on.
Well, thank you for your time. Feel free to join us again on the Whispered Truths.
Thank you and goodbye. Segment 3, Victor Frankenstein. Well, that was an insightful interview. Such an unfortunate case for that innocent Justine. But now for our last guest of the day. Please, sir, come in and join us. Here with us is Victor Frankenstein. Thank you so much, sir, for taking the time to be a part of our discussion.
Of course, it's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I know it was difficult to get a hold of you. I assume you must be busy, therefore we don't want to steal too much of your time, and we'll get right into our interview. Victor Frankenstein, your name has become a big topic of discussion in relation to the death of William Frankenstein, your younger brother. Some people claim that you're at fault for the saddening death. Could you tell us how you initially found out William died?
Yes, I will forever remember that woeful day. I was in Ingolstadt, Germany, with my friend Henry Clerval, far away from my hometown in Geneva, Switzerland. I received a mournful letter from my father, Alphonse Frankenstein, in which he stated that my sweet younger brother, William, had been murdered. I was truly devastated and decided to immediately depart for Geneva to reunite with my family for this sorrowful moment.
That is saddening to hear. I am sorry about that. Once you arrived there, how did you feel, and what were your thoughts on the accusation that Justine Moritz was the person to blame for this murder?
Upon my arrival, I was devastated at the sight of my family's mourning. Our sweet baby William was our family's most prized possession. He was our pride and joy, our sweet baby, only 6 years old. His murder has no justification. He was too young to be guilty of any crime. And finding out about Justine's accusation was arguably the worst thing that could have happened to me. I knew the real truth. I was the only person who knew the real truth. It was my fault. I killed her.
I understand this is a tough topic for you, but could you please elaborate on what you mean by I killed her?
I know who killed William. I made him. The murderer was my creation, and I could have spoken up, but I didn't. I stayed silent. I could have saved that poor soul, but I didn't, and I am to blame. I could have prevented all of this, Justine's conviction, William's death, but I didn't. I stayed silent and unfortunately silenced them as well. I am now left with utter regret about my selfish decisions and my cowardness.
You mentioned that you silenced them as well. Were Justine and William's voices not worthy of being heard? Do you believe that your voice is worthy of being heard?
No, they had every right to speak. They deserved to have their voices heard. They should not have been silenced by me, and I don't believe that I deserve to speak even another word. I should be kept silent for the rest of my life, just like I stayed silent for those innocent souls. I should be condemned for I am the person responsible.
Now could you further explain what you mean by your creation?
I wish I was unable to, but I can. I was naive and ambitious. I was studying at the University of Ingolstadt, and I learned all about philosophy and chemistry. After all my long hours of studying, I regretfully learned how to create a living creature from dead pieces. I discovered that I could use the electricity to bring back life to dead matter. These I obtained from graveyards and slaughterhouses. I used this newly found knowledge to create my monster. I condemned the day I brought that hideous thing to life. While building him, I will admit that I was proud of my creation, but as soon as he brought life, I was disgusted. I immediately hated him. I despised everything about him. He is a vile and murderous devil. No one should suffer but him. He should pay for all the damage he has caused to humanity, to my family.
You claim that you have used a special power. I'm assuming that you refer to technology to bring that monster to life. I did some research on this topic, and according to Medical Health Humanities, Luigi Galvani was able to discover animal electricity, and essentially was able to induce the resurrection of the dead. He was the first person to introduce the idea of galvanism. Would you say that your discoveries relate to him in any way?
I can resonate with him. We used the same concepts in our discoveries. However, I can recognize that I was too driven by ambition in my experiment and ignored simple morality and ethics. After the painful death of my mother, Caroline Frankenstein, I attempted to bring back life from dead people, but I did not think that my simple ambition would lead to such a disastrous outcome. I sincerely apologize for all the harm I have caused.
Now, I must say that just before we actually had William and Justine join us for a short interview as well, William mentioned many times that he felt silenced by your cowardice. He felt deep sadness towards your selfish fearfulness. Justine also stated that she deeply cared about your family and that you were selfish in creating such a monster that would hurt humanity. What do you have to say to those two people whose life you ruined?
I truly have no words for them other than that I deeply apologize. I'm aware that I could spend the rest of my life apologizing to them, and it still would never be enough.
Thank you for being here and whispered truths, Victor. I hope you are able to find peace, and I hope this can be used as a learning opportunity for scientists out there.